Hey guys, it's Luke with GeoFit. Today we're going to go over one of the most important muscle groups for your shoulder, for shoulder health. The rotator cuff muscles. There's 4 of them. 3 of them do external rotation, 1 of them does internal rotation. And that humerus bone right here, it's a ball and socket joint. So we often dislocate it or get tears, especially when we fall, we land. We often dislocate a shoulder. Many of us have developed, shoulder injuries, torn labrums, torn rotator cuffs, dislocations, just simple tendonitis. Rotator cuff really prevents a lot of that by stabilizing your shoulder joint, which is the most mobile joint in the body. So we really want to fight for stability on this one. So we're going to do a few internal, external rotation exercises to strengthen our rotator cuff. What we'll do is we'll start with external. So we'll have our elbow fixed at the side, and we never want it actually touching the side, because once your elbow is more narrow than your shoulder, you actually lose some blood flow to the rotator cuff tendon. We actually want a little wider, because we want to increase blood flow to the area we're working on. Blood brings, good nutrients, oxygen to the area. That's what we want. So we're actually going to use a pillow or a towel, something to keep your elbow about 2 or 3 inches outside of your body. We're going to fix our hand directly away from the line of pull. Good posture, ears over shoulders. And we're going to work on just that external rotation right here. So I'm pulling the band out. I'm slowly controlling it on the way back in. Kind of that negative on the way back in. Some of the major mistakes I see, people accidentally cheat with their core or their hips, they're turning. Another one is they actually move the elbow with it. Our elbow's fixed. Our hand is just drawing a semicircle around that elbow. You should quickly feel that deep burn, deep in the shoulder. If you're using a band, the further away you step, the more challenging it's going to be. The closer you are, the easier it's going to be. You can always start out wide or far away from the where the band is attached. And as you fatigue, you can scoot in close, almost like creating your own kind of drop set. Good. All right, so those of you that are doing this with me, we're going to do internal and external on each arm. Even if you're only injured on one side, it's very important that we always do both sides. One, to keep things balanced, and 2, often if you injured yourself on one side, that means there was a deficiency there, unless it was just a freak accident, something that it's probably going to lead to the same injury or problem in the other side. So for multiple reasons, we're going to do both sides. So pretend I did both on this side, but just to face the camera, I'm going to do internal on my other side so I can stay facing forward. And we're going to keep that same pillow right here. Fix the elbow, again, slightly outside of our shoulder. Good posture. And we're just going to internally rotate now. Internal rotators, or your internal rotator is actually stronger right here. So with the band, I recommend stepping further away. I'll show you guys some different angles. Step further away here. Again, as you fatigue, you can get closer. Again, this is maybe the most important exercise for anyone coming off, shoulder injuries, most shoulder injuries. I'm not speaking for everyone, this is very general, but most shoulder injuries, most shoulder pains, chronic shoulder pains, shoulder problems, this is going to fix or at least help a lot of them. Almost all of them, so I highly recommend it. And for those lucky of you who have not been injured yet, I highly recommend doing this to prevent future injuries. Helps with athletic performance and overall joint health. Again, that rotator cuff, especially the tendon, loses a lot of blood flow as we age. So this is one of the best ways to keep it active, keep using it. You don't use it, you lose it. Nice. Okay, so that's one position. That's where I recommend everyone start at, with our elbow straight down, external and internal rotations on both sides. As far as progressing that, we can start slowly moving our elbow upward, or start moving our elbow out to the side. I recommend doing both. I recommend everyone doing a internal rotation exercise and an external rotation exercise for their shoulder every day of their life. Really healthy, or at least almost every day. At least every day you work out. And we can do different angles. We can mix it up. One day we do here, one day we do here. So for those of you that are injured, we're going to obviously start down here, and that's going to be a slow progression. It might take weeks for you to start getting your arm up and getting strong, but for those of you healthy, and once we get everyone who's injured healthy, we want to be strong in every position. So, so we don't need the pillow anymore. The next one we'll pretend we worked all the way up week after week till we're up to this height. We never want our elbow as high as our shoulder or higher, because that can cause some different type of impingement. So we're going to stay right below shoulder height. This is as high as we're going to get, but it's directly out in front. Again, we're going to turn, so we're pulling away from the line of pull. I'm going to actually touch my elbow to make sure that it doesn't move, because I want to actually feel it fixed in space. And we're going to do some external rotations right here. Again, you can do this with a cable in a gym. Again, as this fatigues, you can start getting closer if you're using the band. And really picture this humerus bone really rotating out. Just get that burn deep in the shoulder. The rotator cuff, those are the shoulder stabilizers. Again, we're working on stabilizing the shoulder joint here. So again, pretend we did internal, external with that arm. Now I'll show you guys internal with this arm. So again, we'll be right here. This time we're pulling internal. So this one, I'm actually gonna raise the line of pull a little bit. So the resistance coming from a little bit higher as I raise my elbow higher. So we're almost pulling at this downward arc here. You guys can be creative. You know, if you're using something that's fixed and you can't move this up and down, you could always, you know, drop to a knee, come down here. Now you're really working that downward angle. Good. For those of you doing this with me, if you're ever too fatigued, you can always just hold, do the isometric hold at different positions. Again, we want to be strong everywhere. We want to be strong throughout our entire range of motion. Almost done. Nice. I'll show you guys one more angle today. Again, a lot of you, I recommend doing at least one internal and external rotation every day, changing up that angle every day. And it doesn't mean we always have to go higher. Some come back down and go lower. We'll come out to the side now. So again, we don't want to go quite as high as our elbow, but slightly, or as high as our shoulder, but slightly below. This time we're going to face away. Maybe I'll show you guys this arm this time. We'll be right here. We're just going to do some external rotations right here. Again, starting far back. It's going to be more resistance if you're using the elastic band. Try to think of your watch back behind you. I always try to get it back behind my elbow. So I'm really getting that external rotation. Again, always feel free to pause, hold that isometric contraction, steady breathing. Slow and controlled on the way in. And that's going to be our external rotators. I didn't do internal on this side, so I'll face this way. Now we're going to work internal rotation. Be right here. One more, guys. This high level, especially external rotation, really good for throwing athletes. You know, quarterbacks, baseball, you know, even tennis. We're doing all that internal rotation all the time, so it's really important that we work on the external rotators to balance us out. So this is really good for preventing shoulder injuries, improving your shoulder health. And for many of us who have had shoulder injuries or are dealing with shoulder pain, chronic pain over time, I've dealt with it. I was actually tore my labrum and was told I wouldn't be able to raise my arm until I had it surgically repaired, and I instead, you know, went crazy on strengthening my rotator cuff as well as other muscles, and strength really does fix the joint. So I highly recommend everyone do this routine. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and yeah, get your shoulders nice and healthy. Internal, external rotation. Oh yeah, one more thing. You can always do this even without weight. Just really externally rotate, internally rotate, even at different angles. Out to the side. You can do alternating. You know, when I was boxing, I had really bad shoulder pain after I dislocated my shoulder. I would be, waiting for the train, and no one would even notice. I'm in a coat. I would just be turning in and out, really getting that rotator cuff firing again. Some of it's strengthening the actual muscles. Some of it's just getting the brain to recruit your rotator cuff muscles, and they actually stabilize that joint really well. So highly recommend everyone get stronger rotator cuffs, and your shoulders will thank me.